Welcome back to another scripting tutorial, and in today's tutorial I am going to break down the 5 most common beginner mistakes in Roblox scripting, and it's by me of course, so definitely subscribe because of that. Yeah, alright, so let's go into number 1. So number 1 is having too many scripts. Okay, so the thing about having too many scripts, it's laggy, unneat, it's not professional, and it takes up memory. So especially if you're doing like a commission for someone else, you definitely would not want to do this. This is like not really efficient for your memory, and it just does not look professional. So you can see here multiple scripts for just one button, and you have the same scripts for each gun. So yeah, let's look at the solutions. So the solutions, pretty much we'd want to clone. So inside of the guns folder we have a cloning folder, and this will basically be cloned to every gun before it parents to the player. So definitely want to utilize cloning, right? It's more efficient, it will save space and save scripts, especially even if it's in the replicated storage. You definitely still want to like reduce the amount of items in replicated storage just to reduce memory, because it still stores in memory. Over here we have combining, so we combine all of the buttons on press into one script, so that's really good. And then we have a multi-purpose script. So pretty much multi-purpose script is using the same script with different parameters. That is what I mean. So pretty much over here we have lifetime, damage, speed, is it a shotgun, fire rate, and magazine. So yeah, you could definitely add that into the clone script with the on servers because of different bullets and all that, different speeds. But you could just change these values just to make the gun different. You don't have to make these scripts separate because of the bullet type, right? If that makes sense. So yeah, definitely make multi-purpose scripts and just change these values to specify what type of gun you have. And number 2, doing everything client side. So the problem with this is hackers and filtering enabled. I did not know what filtering enabled was, but pretty much filtering enabled makes it so the client side cannot actually interact with other players. So it just avoids server hacking, if that makes sense. It just protects your game. And filtering enabled does have some downfalls, like hackers can still change their walk speed and their jump power, but the problem with filtering enabled is that hackers cannot heal themselves. So inside of the script we have a health regen inside of a local script, and this is just the default healing from Roblox, and I just pasted it in here. But the problem with this is that it will look like the player is healing, but on the server side the player is actually going to stay the same health. So it's like a manipulation. So yeah, you can't use health regen on the local side. Any type of healing you cannot do on the local side. And let's look at the solutions for this one. So the solutions, they're pretty simple, and I think this is like the only reason you would want to use a local script, but you would want to use it for accessing well, getting the mouse position with events, or anything in player scripts, or any type of thing in player scripts, and a starter GUI. So pretty much anything in player scripts, we have bubble chat, chat scripts, sounds, and then over here we have camera module and control module. So if you need to change anything in camera or have anything in the category of camera, you have to use a local script, or anything in controls as well, you can also use a local script. And yeah, that's pretty much the only reasons I think you'd want to use a local script. Definitely want to utilize using server scripts to avoid hackers, but local scripts are more efficient for your system. And also I also added starter GUI The thing about this is that you can do this in a server script, but there's really no point because players have their own screen, right? Everyone has their own client screen. So if someone hacks their player screen, it's not going to affect any other person. So there's really no point of protecting Starter GUI because if a hacker changes their own screen, it's not going to really do anything. So that's why I just said use local scripts for Starter GUIs because it's just better for your system. Number 3, using FindFirstChild for no reason. So yeah, for me, I used this all the time when I was starting scripting. I thought it was just a solution for everything, but I just had no clue about it. So inside of Developer Hub, it says FindFirstChild takes about 20% longer than using dot operator. So dot operator is this thing, dot fireball, in it for an example. And yeah, it takes 20% longer. That's a long time. And then over here, it specifies almost 8 times longer than simply storing a reference to an object. So that's storing it into a variable pretty much. Therefore, you should avoid calling FindFirstChild in performance-dependent code, such as in tight loops or functions connected to run service. Run service is like very fast, so I definitely would not recommend using FindFirstChild in run service of any kind. Store the result in a variable, or consider using child added or wait for child to detect when a child of a given name becomes available. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Use child added, use wait for child. Do not put it inside of a run script, a run service. It's just not the way to go. And store it in a variable all the time. So yeah, and here's the error I would get. So if I was referencing something in workspace, sometimes it wouldn't be there, so I'd get this error and I was like, oh, I have to use FindFirstChild. That's like my only solution. But that's really not the only solution. There's other things you can do as well, and I will show you. But also another thing I noticed too was when you reference something in replicated storage, there's really no point of using FindFirstChild or waitForChild because replicated storage replicates more faster than scripts can run, if that makes sense. Scripts will not run before anything in replicated storage is cloned. So everything in replicated storage will be there in time before a script runs. That's for sure, because that's the first thing that I think loads in. Okay, so and then this is the correct way to do it. Just use the dot. It's way more quicker than using FindFirstChild or waitForChild. So definitely every time you reference an item in replicated storage, always use dot. There's no point of doing anything else. And let's look at the solutions. So there's a couple questions you want to ask. Can this object get destroyed in any way? And that's when you want to know to use FindFirstChild. Is this object unanchored? And is it parent to workspace? Or is it parented in the correct spot that you're referencing? So yeah, ask yourself these 3 questions before you decide to use FindFirstChild. You definitely don't need to use FindFirstChild if the object is anchored and it won't be destroyed. Right? It's like baseplate. If baseplate's gonna stay there, there's nothing that's gonna destroy it. There's no point of using FindFirstChild. And you always want to utilize waitForChild, which basically waits for something to be placed before the script runs and continues, and child added, which basically listens to anything added into the folder. Stored in a variable, locals. Avoid looping with FindFirstChild. Just avoid any type of looping like while, wait, do. Always try to avoid using FindFirstChild in looped scenarios. Having one purpose remotes. So yeah, bad for the memory, and it's another system listener because the system has to listen to when this event is fired. So that's a whole new system to listen. And here's a couple examples. We have play music and stop music, and we have open shop and close shop. And yeah, this is very inefficient. We have just 2 events for just one type of thing, music, and that's just really not good for your system. And let's look at these solutions. So the solutions are pretty simple. You can use argument identifiers. So over here we have a get purchase on server event, and then connect the function. And over here we have the type. So the type is what's going to identify what type of gun we want to purchase. And yeah, type 1, if type is 1, then give them AK-47. If it's 2, it's M60, 3, M191. So yeah, use argument identifiers, which is just passing in some type of identifier to give to the event. And the other thing I want to reference is B-Ricey's remote messenger module. And yeah, his module is amazing. I use it all the time, bro. It is a really amazing module. But pretty much this module basically makes it so all of your events and your remotes, your remote functions, all run in just one remote. It's amazing. It's only so pretty much you don't have to use any other remotes if you have this module. You just pass parameters to the module, and then the module runs it through these two events. So it's really amazing for your system because it avoids any type of listening beyond just 2, because you need at least 2 to start a listening of some kind. And yeah, I definitely recommend you guys to check out B-Ricey's remote messenger module. But another thing I want to reference is that he did say that he stopped using his module because of hackers, but I still don't think that's a good excuse to stop using his module, because yeah, hackers will always be able to like fire events. I still don't understand why he's saying that his module is bad for hackers. I can't see what's so bad about this module. You just have to check on the server side if the parameters are correct, because the thing about hackers, they can fire events as much as they want. So you just have to check their money, check if it's check if they're if this is a type, right? I said if type equals 1, if type equals 2. Basically just check your parameters. You don't have to check player, because player is always going to pass in as player. So you can just do player.leader stats and all that. So yeah, definitely want to do that as well. So anyways, let's continue to the next. Repeating the same lines instead of wrapping in function. So yeah, this is the last one I want to reference. And the problem with this is that it's bad for your memory, it's inefficient, and it's slower. And you could see the amount of lines here. It's a lot of lines. I wish I could show the numbers. I should have added the numbers in here. But yeah, this is a lot of lines. That's like, I'm guessing maybe 20. This is probably 20 lines right here. And yeah, you definitely want to utilize functions to reduce the amount of lines. And how we do this is this way. And pretty much wrap it in a local function. So we have a function here, and it has the constraint that can make it, and then it parents it to part 1 or part 0. And yeah, we just pass in the parameters into the function, and it makes it so there's way less lines than the other way. So yeah, we definitely want to utilize functions to reduce the amount of lines we have, because the less lines means the quicker, right? But you don't need to use functions if you're only calling it once. But if you're calling something twice or more, definitely want to utilize functions, because it's just way quicker for your system. And that is it, guys. That is the 5 most common beginner developer mistakes. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If I missed any other mistakes, please tell me in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time.